Abishai, the brother of Joab, saying, Who will go down with me to the camp unto Saul? And Abishai said, I will go down with you. So David and Abishai came to the people by night, and behold, Saul lay sleeping in the tent, and his spear stuck in the ground at his head. But Abner and the people lay around him. Then Abishai said to David, God has shut up your enemy unto your hand this day. Now therefore I pray you, let me strike him with a spear, even to the earth at once, and I will not strike the second time. And David said to Abishai, Do not destroy him, for who can stretch forth his hand against the Lord's anointed, and be guiltless? And David said furthermore, As the Lord lives, the Lord shall strike him, or his day shall come to die, or he shall go down to battle and perish. The Lord forbid that I should stretch forth my hand against the Lord's anointed. But now I pray you, take the spear that is at his head, and the cruse of water, and let us go. And so David took the spear and the cruse of water from Saul's head, and they got away, and no man saw nor knew, neither did they awake, for they were all asleep, because a deep sleep from the Lord had fallen upon them. Then David went over to the other side and stood on the top of a hill far off, a great space between them. And David cried to the people and to Abner the son of Ner, saying, Do you not answer, Abner? And Abner answered and said, Who are you that cries to the king? David said to Abner, Are you not a man? And who is like you in Israel? Why then have you not kept your lord the king? For there came one of the people in to destroy your lord the king. This thing that you have done is not good. As the Lord lives, because you have not kept your master, the Lord's anointed, you are ready to die. And now see where the king's spear is, and the cruse of water that was at his head. And Saul knew David's voice and said, Is this your voice, my son David? David said, It is my voice, my lord, O king. And he said, Why does my lord pursue after his servant this way? For what have I done, or what evil is in my hand? Now therefore I pray you that my lord the king hear the words of his servant. The Lord has stirred him up against me, let him accept an offering. But if it is the children of men, they are cursed before the Lord. For they have driven me out, they from living within the inheritance of the Lord, saying, Go serve the gods. Now therefore let not my blood fall to the earth before the face of the Lord. For the king of Israel has come out to seek me, as when one hunts a partridge in Mars. Then Saul said, I will sit. Return, my son David, for I will never do harm anymore. For my life is precious in your eyes this day. Behold, I have made to let the great bear. David answered and said, Behold, the king's spear. Let one of the young men come over death. May the Lord give to every man his righteousness and his faithfulness. For the Lord delivered you into my hand today, but I will not stretch forth my hand against the Lord's anointed. And behold, as your life was precious in my eye this day, so let my life be precious in the eyes of the Lord. And let him deliver me out of all tribulation. Then Saul said to David, Blessed are you, my son David. You shall both do great things, and also shall still prevail. And so David went on his way, and Saul returned to his place. This is the book of 1 Samuel. We're reading from 1 Samuel on Family Bible Reading Fellowship. We continue reading now chapter 27. 1 Samuel chapter 27. And David said in his heart, I shall now perish one day by the hand of Saul. There is nothing better for me than that I should speedily escape into the land of the Philistines. And Saul shall despair of seeking me any more in any border of Israel, and so I shall escape out of his hand. And David arose, and he passed over with the 600 men that were with him to Achish, the son of Maoch, king of Gath. And David lived with Achish of Gath, he and his men, every man with his household. And David with his two wives, Ahinoam of Jezreel, and Abigail of Carmel, Nabal's wife. And Saul was told that David had fled to Gath, and he never again looked for him. And David said to Achish, If I have now found grace in your eyes, let them give me a place in some town in the country, so that I may live there. For why should your servant live in the royal city with you? Then Achish gave him Ziklag that day. Therefore Ziklag belongs to the kings of Judah to this day. And the time that David lived in the country of the Philistines was a full year and 4 months. And David and his men went up and invaded the Geshurites, and the Gezrites, and the Amalekites. For those nations were of old the people of the land, as you go to Shur, even to the land of Egypt. And David struck the land, and left neither man nor woman alive, and took away the sheep and the oxen, and the asses, and the camels, and the clothing, and returned and came to Achish. And Achish said, Where have you made a raid today? And David said, Against the south of Judah, and against the south of Jerahmeelite, and against the south of the Kenites. And David saved neither man nor woman alive, to bring tidings to Gath, saying, Lest they should tell on us, saying, This is what David did. And so will be his manner all the while he lives in the country of the Philistines. And Achish believed David, saying, He has made his people Israel utterly hate him. Therefore he shall be my servant forever. Chapter 28, 1 Samuel chapter 28. And in those days the Philistines gathered their armies together for war to fight with Israel. And Achish said to David, You surely know that you shall go with me to battle, you and your men. And David said to Achish, Surely you shall know what your servants can do. And Achish said to David, Therefore I will make you keeper of my head forever. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had mourned him and buried him in Ramah. And they sang to one another in dances, saying, Saul killed his thousands, and David his 10,000s. Then Achish called David and said to him, Surely as the Lord lives, you have been upright, and your going out and your coming in with me in the army is good in my sight. For I have not found evil in you since the day of your coming to me until this day. Nevertheless the Lords do not favor you. Therefore return now and go in peace, so that you do not displease the Lord of the Philistines. And David said to Achish, But what have I done? And what have you found in your servant so long as I have been with you to this day, that I may not go fight against the enemies of my lord the king? And Achish answered and said to David, I know that you are good in my sight, like an angel of God, but the princes of the Philistines have said, He shall not go up with us to the battle. Therefore now rise up early in the morning with your master's servants, who have come with you, and as soon as you are up early in the morning and have light, depart. And so David and his men rose up early to leave in the morning to return into the land of the Philistines. And the Philistines went up to Jezreel. Chapter 30, 1 Samuel chapter 30. And when David and his men had come to Ziklag on the third day, it came to pass that the Amalekites had invaded the south and Ziklag, and had struck Ziklag and burned it with fire. And they had taken captive the women who were in it. They did not kill any, either small or great, but carried them away and went on their way. And so David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire. And their wives and their sons and their daughters had been taken captive. Then David and the women who were with him lifted up their voice and wept, until they had no more power to weep. And David's two wives had been taken captive, Ahinoam of Jezreel, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal of Carmel. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, each one for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. And David said to Abiathar, the priest, Ahimelech's son, I pray you bring the ephod here to me. And Abiathar brought the ephod there to David, and David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I go